Hello friends and viewers, and welcome to my SP Safiyyah character guide. If you are just here for a quick reference, I've created a pocket guide for the beginning of the video. My name is James, and today's video is sponsored by Sword of Convallaria. If you're a Sword of Convallaria player and you enjoy watching in-depth character guides and high-level battle replays, please consider supporting me by subscribing to this channel. If you haven't already, you and your friends can download Sword of Convallaria today through the link in the description below. SP Safiyyah's trait is MS Combat Staff. Depending on star level, when allies within 5 to 6 tiles of Safiyyah attack enemies with mobile squad mark, their attack increases by 5 to 15%. Additionally, the damage and piercing damage from assisting attacks and alerts against mobile squad mark targets increases by 15 to 25%. And again, depending on star level, after casting active support skills or passively triggering healing effects on an ally, Safiyyah grants them random level 1 to 2 attribute buffs for 2 turns. At the start of Safiyyah's turn, she will inflict mobile squad mark on all enemies within 6 tiles of her, lasting for 2 turns. Her initial skill is Assault Order. She grants an ally the Assault Order buff. When the buffed ally launches an active single target attack, the character will perform an additional assisting attack with their basic attack, dealing 100% corresponding damage. This can be activated up to 1 time per round. This enables allies to follow up with a basic attack after an active single target attack. Think about units with traits or passives attached to their attacks that will trigger an additional time from this. Safiyyah also heals the targeted ally for 60% of her physical and magical attack and has a generous range of 1 to 6 tiles. At rank 1, I recommend Frontline Deployment. Frontline Deployment is an instant skill that causes a target ally to walk to any tile within 5 tiles around them, but no movement is still affected by special tile effects. Considering most characters have a base movement of 3 tiles, this is an external support skill to help allies keep up with the team. This can also be used to move an ally in or out of an enemy's threat range, or set them closer to objectives and items. Solemnity is a passive aura that decreases attack of all enemies within 2 tiles of her, ultimately reducing group damage taken. This may be helpful for content progression at low Voyager levels and when you have a small character roster, but it is conditional on Safiyyah's position against enemies. Safiyyah also has longer term and more impactful skills to choose from. Additionally, note that Solemnity cannot be stacked with similar auras that decrease attack of enemies. At rank 3, I recommend Thorough Deliberation and consider Castalia for Sniper Cover Me. Sniper Cover Me is a 0 energy cost 2-turn cooldown skill. Safiyyah gains dodge and performs a 3x5 alert, dealing magic damage, scaling with her physical attack and interrupting the enemy turn. Enemies hit are inflicted with the Eye for Weakness debuff, which makes them take more damage from their countered roll. With Thorough Deliberation, Safiyyah will perform a global heal to 2 allies at the end of her turn, scaling with both her physical and magical attack. If she ends her turn with Standby, she heals them an additional time. Recall her trait grants random level 1 to 2 attribute buffs when she passively triggers healing effects. Thorough Deliberation thus allows her to apply buffs globally. At rank 5, I recommend Battlefield Healing. Through Battlefield Healing, Safiyyah will heal the ally with the lowest HP within 2 tiles of her for 100% of her magical defense. Using this reaction skill means magical defense becomes a healing throughput stat. Weak Spot Protection will offer some mitigation against enemies with high crit, such as Seekers or crit mutations. At rank 7, I recommend Together With You. Together With You is a similar ability to Soulmate, learnable by Inanna and KA Guard. Together With You provides attack and defense buffs to allies stacked close to each other, with an additional target count benefit to both Iria and Night Crimson allies. Crimson Memory is a Night Crimson leader's aura, but it is a non-unique leader's aura, only providing attack and defense increases. Compared to other learnable skills, Crimson Memory has very short-term value. At rank 9, I recommend Joint Strike. Joint Strike deals less damage than a regular basic attack, but it has a range of 1 to 3 tiles. This basic attack inflicts mobile squad mark on a target and makes the closest ally within 3 tiles of the target perform an assisting attack with their basic attack dealing 50% damage. Because of the assisting attack, this nets more damage than for Safiyyah to deal 100% damage basic attack herself. However, this is contingent on having an ally within threat range. In scenarios where you cannot reliably use Joint Strike's range or trigger the assisting attack, you can still revert back to her initial basic attack. Invigorating Strike is a fine skill on its own, but Safiyyah can make up energy recovery through taros or through external energy recovery skills from allies. Long term, Joint Strike will net more damage and more likely trigger passive or trait interactions. At rank 11, I recommend Mobile Squad Trump Tactic. Mobile Squad Trump Tactic is your signature ability, inflicting the Eye for Weakness debuff on an enemy target for 2 turns, then causes the 4 closest allies within 3 tiles of the enemy to perform assisting attacks with their basic attacks, dealing 50% damage each. This is a powerful ability to focus single target priority damage, and like Assault Order and Joint Strike, can trigger additional passive or trait interactions from those performing assisting attacks. Rebirth by itself is a respectable healing skill. It heals all allies for 30% of their HP, so its output is not dependent on Safiyyah's gear. However, the Attack 1 and Magical Defense 1 buffs risk redundancy when Safiyyah is star level 4 or 5. It also suffers from a 5-turn cooldown. This may be considered on very large maps where your units are spread out or if your AoE healing options are few, but this skill does not have good long-term value. SP Safiyyah's skill is Blade Chase. To learn this SP skill, Seeker Safiyyah must have learned the Blade Chase reaction, and SP Safiyyah must be star level 3. With this version of Blade Chase, Safiyyah will perform an assisting attack on enemies with mobile squad marks once per round, dealing 50% physical damage, then heals the lowest HP percentage ally for 30% of her physical and magical attack. Compared to battlefield healing, this is not contingent on Safiyyah being attacked, instead it is contingent on an ally attacking an enemy with mobile squad mark. 30% of the sum of her physical and magical attack is likely to be higher than 100% of her magical defense, so this will most likely be your default reaction skill once unlocked. This is my general build recommendation. In this build, use Mobile Squad Trump Tactic whenever Safiyyah has ample energy, and weave Joint Strikes otherwise. Trump Tactic and Joint Strike are both ranged attacks, so Safiyyah can comfortably situate behind the front line. Select Frontline Deployment to provide external movement for allies, or select Sniper Cover Me to deliver more damage and interrupt enemy actions. For a support-focused build, select Assault Order and Thorough Deliberation to provide healing. Your third skill slot is Flexible. Choose Together with You to provide additional attack and defense buffs, Frontline Deployment for external movement, or even a damage-focused skill. For weapon recommendations, Nocturnal Glow is Safiyyah's Astral Imprint. Whenever the character casts a skill on allies, this weapon dispels 2 debuffs, grants them 1 random level 2 buff, and the Nocturnal Glow buff, which increases damage by 10 to 15% for 2 turns. With Safiyyah's suite of long-range support skills, she can regularly utilize Nocturnal Glow to support allies. If Nocturnal Glow is not accessible for you, Newborn Blade is a fine weapon to increase her HP and physical attack. For trinket recommendations, Safiyyah has a respectable base speed of 219, so she can well utilize Old Scrolls of August to speed up an ally. This will also trigger her trait, granting the targeted ally with random attribute buffs. Origin Hourglass is a good option for the attack increase. Recall that Safiyyah has multiple healing skills that scale with both her physical and magical attack. Spring Pill is a reasonable option to give herself some self-sustain and self-cleansing. Fancy Hat can be considered to protect her action economy. The magical defense boost will also increase her battlefield healing throughput if using that reaction skill. For tarot options, Course of Fortune is a versatile and hybrid option for damage, healing, mitigation, and energy recovery. The AoE healing effect from this tarot will also trigger her trait of granting allies with random attribute buffs. Consider Mercy of the High Priestess if you are using Safiyyah primarily as a healer. Safiyyah is a capable healer but lacks in cleansing. You can consider Elegance of the Empress to regularly support allies with debuff conversion, especially if you are lacking Nocturnal Glow. For engravings, my first recommendation is Cup and Wand. Despite the randomness of this resonance, Safiyyah has versatile damage and support skills that can all benefit from the energy refund and/or cooldown reset. That said, do your best to prioritize engraving resonance buffs on Mobile Squad Trump Tactic. Otherwise, consider Double Cup if you are playing Safiyyah primarily as a healer. To provide some composition and usage tips, Safiyyah's support functions of assisting attacks, healing, external buffs and movement are universal benefits. She can easily be integrated into any team composition and support several units from a long-range distance. Even so, keep in mind that assisting attacks are only as strong as her teammates. The stronger her teammates are, then the more valuable of a support unit Safiyyah becomes. Safiyyah is part of the Night Crimson, Iria, and Discipline categories. Consider building a team with her using Layla's or Dentalian's leader's auras. For a quick overview of external category buffs, Layla's aura provides 12% more damage to all Night Crimson allies. This is stronger than Safiyyah's learnable leader's aura. Dentalian's aura provides 20% more damage to enemies with 3 or more debuffs. Safiyyah contributes with Eye for weakness and by extension, any debuffs inflicted through allies assisting attacks. Inanna's Soulmate is a great ability to have in an Irian team, providing attack and defense buffs, but is also redundant when Safiyyah is using together with you. As for Discipline auras, the only skill Safiyyah has with a cooldown longer than 4 turns is Rebirth, of which she should be infrequently using. Consider another leader's aura other than Discipline. This concludes my character guide. As mentioned in my disclaimer, I welcome feedback and I'm open to being wrong. I'm still learning and improving just like you are. Once again, if you find conflicting information to other guides or content creators, then that means there are multiple ways to build a character and still achieve success. If you have any feedback for me, please feel welcome to comment below. I also have my various social media platforms on this slide here. Last but not least, I want to credit and shout out these resources that helped me put this guide together. Voyage Memento for their character build samples and reference links, the Sword of Convallaria No Potion fan site for skill images and skill descriptions, the Sword of Convallaria Cloud Drop Wiki for skill filtering and gear images, and the Billy Game and Game Key Chinese sites for character art assets. I highly recommend visiting these links to build your Sword of Convallaria knowledge. Thank you so much for watching this character guide, and I will see you in the next one.